Thanksgiving, fall, autumn, such a wonderful time of year to decorate our home in all those beautiful colours. I have my felt with me today, and I'm going to start off making a felt wreath and then a few other Thanksgiving projects. So please come and see. To cut my shapes, I'm going to use my LaserPecker 2. I'm using this as I have it available to me, but don't worry, you can use some other cutting machines and you can also use some scissors. I have some felt in autumn colours, and I start off in this project cutting some really simple leaf shapes. I drew some simple leaves on my iPad. I can save these as JPEGs in my photo album and then bring them into the LaserPecker app so that I can start cutting on the LaserPecker 2. It basically works by burning through the felt. Where this comes in really handy is when you want a much more complicated leaf shape or any other shape. Then this can cut out lots of real intricate details. I'll show you this in the next projects. But for now, if you lots of these leaf shapes out to make a really pretty wreath. I love using this machine and it has some really great features. For a laser it works really quickly, and as you can see in lots of my other videos, it works with plenty of different materials. And there we have our first leaf. I just need to cut many more. And so what I did, instead of just cutting one leaf at a time, I made my square and I made it so that I could cut 3 out at a time. Here I'm using Procreate and I do a really simple leaf shape that's really quick and easy to draw. You can draw much more detailed shapes, or you could go on the internet and find something to either copy or use. With the LaserPecker 2 you actually have a 10 by 10 centimeter square to use. As you can see here, that is the cutting and engraving space available. When cutting, I always make sure it's on G-code mode. The laser will then track the line. Different felts are different thicknesses and have slightly different properties depending on which one you buy, so just do an experiment and see what cuts through your felt. So here is the LaserPecker in use. It cuts lots of other materials as well, but obviously if you don't have one of these, I don't expect you to, then you can easily use your scissors. As my son pointed out, we love the burn line on the edge of these leaves, and it really gives them another bit of dimension. When cutting, I always make sure I put a board underneath. I carry on cutting some more leaves out of 4 different colours of felt. We need really quite a lot for this wreath project, so keep going. I love all these colours and I can't wait to show you how the final wreath turns out. To give our leaves a little more dimension, I have my hot glue gun, adding a small bead of glue and pinching it to give it a 3D leaf effect. Just be super careful with the really hot glue. Repeat this for all of the leaves. And they all turn out just a little bit differently, which is what we want and makes a really nice wreath. So there are all our leaves, and don't forget, scissors work really well too. Now let's turn our leaves into a wreath. You can use any kind of ring or hoop you have, or even a paper or plastic plate like this and cut the centre out. Don't worry what this looks like, as we can wrap it in some felt or some string or some wool. For this one I've chosen to use the wire of a coat hanger. I've opened it up and bent it by hand into a circle. I took some pliers and cut the excess off. With some strong tape I can join this together. I'm just using some black duct tape. So this part of the process I really like to use whatever I have to hand. So please use whatever you can get hold of. I cut some strips of felt. I just used whatever I had the most of. As you're not really going to see this, but it just neatens up the whole project. I'm just using little dabs of hot glue to hold it in place. And there we have our fabric covered hoop, which we can start to attach our leaves to. Personally, I find the hot glue is definitely the easiest to attach these with, as it dries nice and quickly. What I did was take 2 different coloured leaves, pinch them together, add a little bead of hot glue, and then hold those 2 leaves together in place where I wanted them until they're set. Slightly overlapping the previous 2 leaves, as you can see here. Keep taking 2 different coloured leaves together and working round in the same direction the whole hoop. Mixing the colours up as I go in a sort of even but not too regular pattern. The colour combination is all about personal preference and what you feel works for you. Keeping on going with the leaves till you get right round, I didn't have quite enough leaves, so I had to go back and cut some more. So you might feel at the beginning of the project, do even more than you might need so that you don't run out, or like me, I don't mind making just enough for the whole project. It's turned dark here now, so I'm outside just using my LaserPecker once more, and then I go through the process of pinching and making those leaves a little bit more 3D, ready to go onto the wreath. When you get on to the final 2 leaves that need to go in, you can gently pull back the first 2 leaves, add a dot of your glue, and then press these in place. And I'm absolutely thrilled with how this is turning out so far. We can now add some more details to it. As this is for Thanksgiving, I'm going to add the simple word into it, thankful, and I'm cutting these out of some thin MDF, and the LaserPecker will do this as well. But you can put any sign in the middle, or you could make a little sign and you could paint on it. I'm just painting my little letters in acrylic paints. You can probably find something similar to this in the shops as well. Don't worry, I can spell. I've taken another piece of wire and I'm just going to glue these in place with the hot glue gun once again. As I say, you could find something ready-made that you could add onto your wreath if you do wish. I glued this in place and there we go. I'm absolutely thrilled with it. There are other options, as I said before, and here is one with welcome through the middle, and I think that looks equally gorgeous. If you wish, you could go for a more detailed wreath and cut out some shapes like this. This is where it becomes a lot easier to cut by machine than by hand. I prefer to use this outside for ventilation, so do excuse out here, and it has been raining, so I have my umbrella over the top. Good old British weather. And there we have our more detailed autumn leaf. This time cutting out of card and paper, and it really does make a really beautiful wreath. For this season I drew a pumpkin on the computer, and I did think it might be quite nice for one of these to hang in the centre of the wreaths. So I cut some out, but these would just be nice as little decorations for around your home or table name settings at this time of year. These are MDF and painted with some acrylic paints. I then decided to draw a small pumpkin to make this into some pin badges and some magnets, cutting these out of MDF or basswood. I cut the detailed shape out and then I cut the outside shape out, so we have the detail and the flat back that I could then paint up with some acrylic paints and then glue together. These are just some ideas to give you some inspiration. You could use some strong super glue to glue these together, but I'm going to use some resin and then I'm going to give them a gloss finish with some resin. I'm doing this as I have it available to me and I have the equipment, but you use whatever you have on hand. This is UV resin and I'm using it with my UV nail lamp from when I do my nails. I'd like a really glossy finish, so I'm adding plenty of resin, and then I'm taking a toothpick and I'm going to coat the whole of the top in the resin, all nice and thinly like this, and then I will do the sides and the back once the top is dried. I look forward to wearing these pin badges and I love how they've turned out. I find the LaserPecker 2 super handy. It just lives in my bottom drawer here, so when I need it, it can easily come out and be plugged in, and it connects to my iPad. It works with the LaserPecker app, and I absolutely love mine. Great for a hobbyist that wants to do some small-scale projects. Please take a look at the links below. I hope you've enjoyed my Thanksgiving projects, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.